History is filled with mysteries, but some are more haunting than others. Imagine this. An entire unit of soldiers, hundreds, sometimes thousands of men, marching into the fog of war, only to vanish without a trace. This isn't a plot from a movie. It's the chilling reality of the Lost Battalions of World War II. These are stories of courage, confusion, and questions that remain unanswered to this day. One of the most famous and yet misunderstood cases is that of the American Lost Battalion in the Argonne Forest. But wait, that was World War I. The legend, however, cast a long shadow, creating a blueprint for similar stories in the Second World War. The term Lost Battalion became a kind of military shorthand for any unit that was cut off, surrounded, and fighting for its life against overwhelming odds. But what about the units that weren't just surrounded, but seemingly erased from existence? Let's travel to the dense, unforgiving jungles of Burma. In 1943, the British campaign against the Japanese was a brutal slog through some of the world's most difficult terrain. It's here that we find whispers of a Gurkha detachment, known for their ferocity and unmatched jungle warfare skills. This unit was sent on a deep reconnaissance mission. Their objective? To scout Japanese positions ahead of a major Allied push. They radioed in their initial reports. Everything seemed normal. Then, silence. Days turned into weeks. Rescue parties were dispatched, combing the jungle grid by grid. They found nothing. No signs of a battle, no discarded equipment, no graves. It was as if the jungle had simply swallowed them whole. Official records are maddeningly vague, setting Timas missing in action, presumed lost. But how can an entire company of elite soldiers disappear so completely? Local legends speak of ancient spirits guarding the jungle, while military analysts theorize they stumbled upon a far larger, hidden Japanese force and were annihilated without a chance to even send a final message. The truth, however, remains buried somewhere in the Burmese wilderness. Now, let's shift our focus to the vast, frozen plains of the Eastern Front, the deadliest theater of the war. In the winter of 1942, during the hellish battle for the Soviet Red Army was throwing everything it had to encircle the German Sixth Army. Amidst this chaos, a Soviet rifle division, hastily formed and thrown into the fray, was ordered to seize a key railway junction south of the city. Pushing through a blizzard, they were advancing into a sector believed to be lightly defended. Their last communication was a confident report that they were nearing their objective. Then, they vanished from the strategic map. For weeks, Soviet command assumed they were cut off and fighting behind enemy lines. But when the Red Army finally recaptured the area, they found a ghost land. There was no evidence of the division. No mass graves, no destroyed tanks, no abandoned field hospitals. German records captured after the battle showed no major engagement in that specific sector at that time. It was a phantom division that marched into a snowstorm and never came out. Some historians suggest they may have been misdirected by poor maps and wandered into a desolate marshland, freezing to death far from any known battlefield. Others propose a more sinister explanation, that they were victims of a friendly fire incident so catastrophic it was deliberately erased from the records. We simply don't know. The mystery isn't confined to land. The sea holds its own secrets. Consider the case of the crew of a German U-boat, let's call it, patrolling the North Atlantic in 1944. Allied anti-submarine warfare had become incredibly effective, and the life of a U-boat crewman was measured in weeks. This particular submarine was on its maiden voyage. It reported sinking an Allied merchant ship and was proceeding to its next patrol zone. Then, radio silence. This was common. U-boats maintained silence to avoid detection, but it never returned to port. It wasn't on any Allied kill lists. No destroyer or patrol aircraft claimed its sinking. After the war, when naval archives were cross-referenced, its fate remained a blank page. It's one of dozens of submarines from all sides that are still on patrol, Did it suffer a catastrophic mechanical failure? A diving accident that sent it plunging into the abyss too quickly for a distress call? Or did it fall victim to an unrecorded mine? The ocean jealously guards its secrets, and the final moments of these crews are lost to the crushing deep. Perhaps the most perplexing of all is the story from the Pacific. In 1945, as the Allies were island-hopping towards Japan, a small garrison of American and Filipino soldiers was stationed on a remote, jungle-covered island, acting as a forward observation post. Their job was to watch for Japanese naval movements. The island was considered safe, far from the main fighting. They had regular supply drops and radio check-ins. One week, the supply plane arrived to find the island eerily quiet. The camp was intact, tents were still standing, half-eaten meals were on the tables, and personal belongings were all in place. But the soldiers were gone. All of them. An intensive search of the small island turned up nothing. There were no signs of a struggle, no blood, no enemy footprints. The only thing out of place was a local tribal idol, not native to that specific island, found placed in the center of the camp. The official report concluded they were likely captured in a stealth raid by a Japanese submarine. But this theory doesn't explain the lack of any disturbance. It's a scene straight out of the Roanoke colony mystery, transplanted into the 20th century. The image of that abandoned camp, a silent testament to a vanished garrison, is one of the most chilling footnotes of the Pacific War. These stories of lost battalions are more than just historical curiosities. They are powerful reminders of the sheer scale and chaos of global conflict. In the fog of war, communication breaks down, maps become useless, and the line between friend and foe blurs. Entire units could be wiped out by disease, starvation, or whether their fates never recorded by either side. Clerical errors could literally write a unit out of existence, their records lost in a bummed-out headquarters. These men weren't just numbers on a casualty list. They were sons, brothers, and fathers who marched into history and never returned. Their stories are fragmented, pieced together from faint radio signals, cryptic after-action reports, and the enduring silence where their voices should be. They represent the ultimate sacrifice of war, not just giving one's life, but having one's very existence. Their final struggle, erased from the memory of the world they fought to protect. Their legacy is the haunting question that echoes through history. What happened to them? And it's a question we may never be able to answer. Thanks for watching. If you find these hidden histories as fascinating as I do, be sure to like this video and subscribe for more dives into the great unsolved mysteries of our past. See you next time.